Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Rainmakers Roundup. Today I have with me Chuck Privitera from Westminster Consulting. Chuck is a retirement plan specialist. Welcome, my friend. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you.
Awesome. Great to have you.
Thanks for having me.
So Chuck drove all the way down from North Jersey today. He's been battling the flu, and look, he's here. So thanks, my friend.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's good to have you.
Yep.
Good to have you. So you're a retirement plan specialist, right? Tell us a little bit about that. What does that mean, right? How did you get into that business?
Sure. So companies hire myself and folks from my firm to help them manage their corporate retirement plan.
Right.
So that could be anything from helping them find the right vendor, helping them select the investments and monitor those, and helping improve participation, engagement, and things like that. Mm-hmm. The key is we work in the boardroom, so we generally work with a committee that oversees the retirement plan benefit.
Okay.
That could be made up of human resources, finance, legal. The way I got into the business was I graduated from college in the early 90s. Wasn't a ton out there, but I knew I wanted to be in financial services. And I started on the individual financial planning side. My dad was in that business, and I thought I'd give it a shot. And the first taste I had of working on a 401k plan was through the work I did with him. And I said, you know what, I think I like working at this corporate level more than I do the individual level.
Right.
And it was the mid-90s. It was still kind of new. 401k plans were still kind of taking shape.
Sure, yeah.
And so from then on, he introduced me to some friends that were exclusively focused in that business.
Yeah.
And it kind of took off from there. I'm one of those unique guys that has focused on retirement plan, 401k plan consulting my entire career. It's really been sort of a jumping off point for wealth management guys or folks that are in other businesses that also do 401k plans.
Right.
So I always kind of found that interesting that, well, this is really the only business I do.
Yeah, you talked about engagement a few minutes ago, and you know you're in the boardroom, you're talking to people about their 401k plan or other retirement plans. What's the difficulty in getting people to engage in a retirement program?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. And how long do we have?
We have a half hour. You can come back if you're good. You can come back.
Good. Well, so I think some of the things that we're trying to wrestle with at Westminster Consulting is the fact that our industry wants us to narrow our focus into the fees and the funds, and that's partially from a regulatory perspective too. So we spend hours in these committee meetings quarterly with senior leadership going over the minutia of the investment options in the plans and the fees that those investment options cost the participants. This is very important work, but putting the best lineup in front of participants that aren't participating isn't moving the needle.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So and our feeling is you need to do this work. It needs to be table stakes. If you're going to be in our business moving forward from now on, you better be doing it right. But this can't be all you're doing if you really want to change people's lives from a retirement perspective.
Yeah.
And so we have all this great thought leadership in these quarterly meetings, and we feel that there are some ways to talk about these investments for maybe 15, 20 minutes, and then let's move on to the headwinds that we see. And those are anything from people don't want to learn about investments at work.
Yeah, talk about that. I really want to hear about that.
So your average individual isn't the least bit interested in learning what a stock or a bond is. They want you to take care of things.
At work or at home, right? Neither,
exactly.
Right?
Exactly. The financial services industry has had a very difficult time with their communications and education, sort of the way they address the American public. As I mentioned, they want to focus on the funds and the fees, and like I said, participants aren't interested in that. So I'll tell you an interesting conversation I had with the director of benefits at a very large technology firm, the biggest. And he was saying, if I have a participant acknowledge to me that they need to increase their 401k contribution by 2%, and then says to me, now how do I log into Vanguard?
Yeah, right.
I've lost them.
Yeah, exactly.
So these are the things that are getting in the way. We call that friction. It's the fact that an employee doesn't really want to engage that often. They don't want to look at their 401k plan.
Yeah.
We have some diversity and inclusion issues that we've identified. To candidly, you go to a couple of the major vendors' website, you click on retirement, the first picture you see is a picture of a male and female white couple in retirement.
Right, exactly.
Is that speaking to everybody?
That's not the whole population,
It's
right?
not even close anymore.
Yeah.
You know, and
So how do you deal with that, Chuck? What is Westminster doing in order to help engage? First of all, it's hard to engage employees to begin with, right?
Absolutely.
In their work. And then secondarily, if they're dealing with all these other issues at home, they have student debt they're dealing
Yes.
with, you know, they might be a single parent, there might
Yep.
be a whole bunch of things that they're dealing with. How do you get them engaged into thinking, cripe, I need to start talking about or thinking about retirement, and I work for this company that's giving me this,
Yes.
this opportunity?
Yeah. So there's a couple ways. First of all, it's to identify. So I don't think anybody's really talking about some of the issues that we've raised, like diversity and inclusion issues and things like that. And so, you know, at the end of the day, the people that really need the help are single working mothers, the folks that aren't contributing at the levels that they should be. So what you have to focus on, first of all, is identify the issue. So,
Yep.
so we have to acknowledge the fact that people of different races, different genders, different sexual identities, save differently, and they need to be spoken to about it differently, and different things motivate them to save.
Right.
We also need to recognize that we've noticed that there are higher student loan debts for minorities. We need to recognize that issue and address it at the workplace. So once we've identified certain cohorts that may be struggling to save for retirement, we can at least focus our attention there.
Yeah.
And we have a group at Westminster called Westminster Workplace Solutions, where it's a truly, it's a fiduciary offering where we work with the participants at their level, but we're paid by the company.
Got it.
So we have no conflict, we sell
Right.
no product, and we sit individually one-on-one with folks who really need it the most.
Yeah.
And we have no axe to grind in terms of, we don't need to be sitting with the wealthiest person in the room because we're getting paid by the company no matter who we
Yeah,
sit with.
yeah. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk to Chuck Privitera more about the business model at Westminster, because it's different than a lot of his competitors out there. We'll be right back after this message from our sponsors.
When did you see the sign?
When I needed to jumpstart sales.
Build attendance for an event.
Help people find their way. Fast Signs design new directional signage.
And got them back on track. Get started at fastsigns.com.
Hi, I'm Sylvia, the wine entrepreneur, host of a brand new show called Cooked and Uncorked on RVN TV. Every week at noon on Wednesday, we're going to introduce a brand new wine or spirit with a different chef and their cuisine. It's going to be an exciting way to learn how to pair your food, to sip wine from around the world, and to have a good time. Be there or you might miss your next great wine or your next great meal.
Got a quarter?
Welcome back to Rainmakers Roundup, everyone. I am Mark Iorio, your host. I am with Chuck Privitera. Chuck is managing partner or
Senior consultant.
Senior consultant at Westminster Consulting, which is a retirement plan consulting company, right? And so before the break, we were talking about, you know, some of the headwinds that you face when you're in this business, when you talk to folks. But tell us about the business model at Westminster, Chuck. Why is it different than everyone else out there?
So I think one of the things, first of all, the two founders, Sean Patton and Tom Zamiara, were really thought leaders in this space. So this industry was driven by financial services professionals who were traditionally paid commissions based on the assets of the plans.
Right, sure.
And Tom and Sean were kind of recognized that this is not going to be a good business model moving forward, that we shouldn't get paid more as these plans grow. We have specific work we need to do from a governance and fiduciary perspective. And so we think that we should be charging a flat fee, and we don't think the participants ought to be paying it. We think the company should be paying it.
Okay.
And so Sean and Tom founded the firm on this premise in 2003, and it really took off from there. The ability for us to deliver the fiduciary advice at the plan sponsor level exists because we are a flat fee based shop. We don't charge commissions. We have no conflicts when it comes to recommending
That's
a vendor
great.
or a fund provider.
Yeah. So back to the conversation we were having before with some of these headwinds that you face. Do companies really care about plan participation? Do they care about the fact that, if they have 200 or 300 or 5,000 employees, that a lot of them are part of the 401k plan or the retirement plan? Does that matter?
Well, that's a great question. And I think the sentiment has always been probably not. But the fact is, they do, and if they don't, they should. And I'll give you a couple of reasons why.
Yeah.
So first of all, the evidence is mounting tremendously that, and I'll give you just a rough number, about 85% of participants report being stressed over their finances at some point throughout the workday.
Right.
I mean, that you don't have to do a lot of math to figure out that that's affecting some productivity
Absolutely.
at some
Sure.
level.
Sure.
So for certain, when you can do anything to help alleviate or reduce
Mitigate that pressure.
financial stress,
Yeah.
you're going to be helping the company out. And that could be, a multitude of ways. So understanding root causes of why they're not participating in the 401k plan or 403b plan, and then getting them to identify and help them save is going to reduce stress.
Yeah.
So how else does that help a company financially? Well, financial stress causes medical problems too. And there has been documented evidence that it causes exactly what you would think: neck and back, depression, insomnia. And if you're a large company that self-funds your medical claims or has to get your medical plan underwritten, those claim reductions in alleviating some of this financial stress is real money.
Yeah.
Now, most importantly, Mark, everybody's seeing these two guys at a company that I'm about to illustrate for you. You have two 65-year-old guys working for you.
Sure.
One of them could retire tomorrow if he wants to, but he loves coming to work.
Yeah.
He's a great relationship manager. He knows where the bodies are buried. He's the best employee you can have, and that's great. The other 65-year-old hates coming to work every day, but he can't retire because he hasn't saved enough.
Yeah, sure.
Person A, valuable employee. Person B is retired at their desk,
Yeah, exactly.
That's-
Not engaged at all.
costing the company.
Hey, listen, we talk
fortune.
a lot about this. The fact that Gallup has come out with, they come out with that State of the American Worker. I'm sure you
Yep,
follow that all the
absolutely.
time, right? And across the board, and it's a 4-year study, right? So they come out with it every 4 years. They just came out with it, I think, last year. 31% of employees are engaged in their work.
Yes.
And that goes, I mean, there's a myriad of reasons why that happens, but if you can relieve some of that financial pressure or stress, that's important. So you're in a competitive business,
Yes.
right? You are in a very competitive business. Westminster's standing out because you're different from everyone else. When you get into a bidding situation, right, where you're RFPing against someone else, how do you win those? How do you win those typically?
That's an interesting question. I think the RFP situation for us is a unique one. Because we're a mid-sized firm, sometimes we don't look so great in RFP. So we've looked at really wanting to make sure we understand the potential opportunity, get to know the client. Because to be quite honest, a client has to be right for us.
Yeah.
They really want to, we want to be working with someone who cares about these things.
Yeah, that's a good point, yeah.
So companies that really do look at a 401k plan as a check the box,
Yeah, you're not
probably not
interested
going
in
to be
that.
ideal for us.
Yeah, makes sense.
We're interested in working with them to see if we can change their mindset.
Yeah.
But
After the break, you want to talk about a case study?
Sure.
Okay. So we're going to take a quick break. Right after this message from our sponsors, we're going to come back with Chuck Privitera from Westminster Consulting and talk about one of the great case studies that they've worked with over the last few years. Be right back after this message.
Hi, I'm Christine Patton, the Juice Girl. The Champion Juicer has been my juicer of choice for years. Whether I'm making a glass of juice or a large batch of juice for my juice bar, these juicers are simple to use and so easy to clean. Champion juicers are masticating, cold-pressed juicers. 2 models are available, the Classic 2000 and the new Elite 4000. Besides juicing, both models can make frozen fruit, smoothies, nut butters, sauces, and even baby food. The Elite 4000 Champion juicer also excels at juicing greens and wheatgrass. These juicers deserve to be called the world's finest. For more information, please visit my website at juicegirlpharmacy.com or championjuicer.com. Hi, I'm Christine Patton. The Juice Girl. The Champion juicer has been my juicer of choice for years. Whether I'm making a glass of juice or a large batch of juice for my juice bar. These juicers are simple to use and so easy to clean. Champion juicers are masticating, cold-pressed juicers. 2 models are available, the Classic 2000 and the new Elite 4000. Besides juicing, both models can make frozen fruit, smoothies, nut butters, sauces, and even baby food. The Elite 4000 Champion juicer also excels at juicing greens and wheatgrass. These juicers deserve to be called the world's finest. For more information, please visit my website at juicegirlpharmacy.com or championjuicer.com.
Welcome back to Rainmakers Roundup. I am your host, Mark Iorio. I'm with Chuck Privitera. Chuck is from Westminster Consulting, which is a retirement plan consulting company. And right before the break, we were just talking about, I want to hear a case study.
Sure.
Yeah, tell me something good about a great program that you put together.
So, I mean, this is where you really have to think out of the box and be creative. This ties into the diversity and inclusion conversation we were having, and it ties into the fact that, you know, it's not all about funds and fees and how do we really get to the bottom of what helps people save more for retirement. So we had a client who we were talking to about, they had asked about a student loan repayment plan, which was kind of all the rage over the last
Man, you're not kidding.
Yeah, over the last couple of years. And my first reaction was, okay, well, let's not shoot from the hip here. What's the motivation behind this? Mm-hmm. And they said, well, our diversity and inclusion committee from the board came to us and said, we believe that it's likely that the people that work for us that are overburdened with student loans are skewed toward Latinos and African Americans.
Okay.
And we believe that if that's the case, those people are less likely to be contributing to the 401k plan. Mm. And if we're right about that, that means that they're not receiving the benefit of the match that we've allocated for every employee at our company.
Sure.
And if we're right about that, then we have a diversity and inclusion problem with our 401k plan. Uh-huh. We took a look at the situation, and they, sure enough, were right. Hmm. So what this company decided to do with our, in collaboration with us, is we sat down and said, is there going to be a way for us to, first of all, identify these individuals? Mm-hmm. Second of all, if they can show hardship through student loan or overburdened student loans, we'll allocate the unused portion of their 401k plan match to help pay for that student loan.
That's awesome.
And then sort of get a commitment from them that, you know, recognize how important retirement is and maybe see if you can find your way to try to increase your 401k plan contribution. But the point is, I guess, being creative, getting to the root cause of a problem. Yeah. And then
absolutely.
Taking it from there.
How do you go about your just general sales and marketing effort, Chuck? How do you find new clients?
Well, that's great. This is kind of new for me. I always worked for larger organizations where a lot of my client prospecting was internal clients. So I've been at Westminster for the last year or so, and the way to do it, with our organization is make sure you're talking to the people our clients listen to. Yeah. Those are their auditors. So every 401k plan has an audit. We want to be at top of mind if an auditor finds something that doesn't look right or smell right. ERISA lawyers, legal counsel that oversee the benefit plans are always good people for us to work with.
Do you have a certain segment of industry that you're looking at, or the size of a company maybe that you're looking at?
So, from an employee size, it's, roughly 500 to 10,000 employees.
Wow, so they're big companies.
Yeah, we have about 65 of those clients in the New York metro area, a couple spread around the country.
Okay.
Westminster's got, what really attracted me to the firm too last year, is the marketing that they do from a goodwill perspective. They have a quarterly magazine that they ask outside contributors to contribute to. So, and it's really off topic from what we do, but maybe top of mind for companies. This next one is going to be on the cyber threats to 401k plans and 401k plan assets. Actually, it's the first one I'll be writing an article for.
Yeah.
This goes out to a couple thousand employers, keeps our name in front of potential opportunities.
Hey, mention that conversation we were talking about earlier about Alexa. Talk about that, because when people think of cybersecurity and retirement plan,
Right.
They don't mix.
So interestingly,
But they do.
there are some great technologies that we think are going to help reduce friction for individuals, and one of them is, Alexa. How much are people contributing to their 401k plans that are my age?
Right.
Alexa, increase my contribution by 2%. This technology's here, and it's happening. And if you talk to most plan sponsors or fiduciaries that oversee the plan, and you ask them, how comfortable are you with your own cybersecurity? They'll say, we're pretty comfortable. How comfortable are you with, your vendors' security, Fidelity, Vanguard, whoever? They're pretty comfortable.
Yep.
How comfortable are you that your participants are securing?
Yeah, exactly, at home.
What?
Yeah, exactly.
And so there becomes a major fiduciary issue there, because the people that oversee the plan now are the ones that are responsible if Joe Smith uses the same password combination for everything and loses $300.
So that's risk mitigation. That's
Big
what
time.
you guys talk about a lot, right?
Absolutely.
Is the most gratifying part of your business, Chuck, has to be seeing companies not only put a plan together, a 403B or a 401k plan together, but participation, right?
It's retirement readiness. So
exactly.
So finding out who's going to be able to turn on their computer and see if I continue on this path, will I be at the number I need when I retire?
Yeah.
So if we can show a company that that's where they're at, and if we can show that we've made improvements in areas that they needed to address or didn't know how to or weren't aware of.
Yeah. So you mentioned your dad earlier, right? Where do you get your inspiration from in selling and doing what you're doing?
Well, certainly from my dad. He was a financial planner, and for 50 years worked for the same company, and just did everything right. Did everything the right way.
Yeah.
And so he certainly inspires me. The business itself. I used to think about how it's tough to get out of bed because I don't feel like I'm curing cancer. But if we are helping people retire with dignity,
absolutely,
that's meaningful to me.
No, it's huge. It changes their whole life.
Absolutely.
And, they're not stressed on a regular basis.
Exactly.
And if you can start to get people to think a little bit more long-term and plan, right, that does change people's lives.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It's been a great half hour.
Has it been a half hour already?
It's been a half hour
Good,
already.
Great.
And you're amazing for coming all the way down here from Paramus, New Jersey.
Well, thank you.
I really enjoyed it. It's been an awesome half hour. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Mark.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, we will see you next week on Rainmakers Roundup. Have a wonderful week, everyone.
RVN TV is a platform for people of any industry to share their